Hi everybody, it's Mary again. I wanted to talk today about something that your doctors won't discuss with you, and that's your family relationships. Relationships with your family and friends, and how having an autoimmune disease like scleroderma will affect your relationships and your life. I think that the thing that affected my life the most is that I just can't do the things that I used to do. And accepting that is extremely difficult. Anybody with a chronic illness will tell you that changing your life once you get your diagnosis has got to be the hardest thing, apart from worrying about your health and living and safety and all those things. Just giving up things that you used to love is really hard. I was so active, and there were so many things that I did, gardening and crafting and cooking and hiking and walking and exercising, and all those things just went right out the window, and my life shrank in a very short period of time. My diagnosis came on very suddenly. Sometimes scleroderma comes on very slowly, and people have a symptom here, and then months later they'll get another symptom. And I've talked to dozens of people with scleroderma. I've been to national conferences, and I've been to many support group meetings, and very active in the association. And the thing that I find is that, like I said, no two people present the same. Some people don't have the arthritic problems. I happen to have very severe arthritic problems, and a lot of pain. Some people don't have pain. Some people don't have Raynaud's. I know a woman who actually goes skiing, which blows my mind, because if I went out on a ski slope, I would be huddled under a blanket for a month, I think, to warm up. But as far as family and friends, it's going to be very hard for them to understand what you're going through. Not that they don't want to, not that they are callous in any way. And I have to admit, and this is the honest truth, and I'm ashamed of it, that I kind of thought that people with chronic pain or chronic illnesses, I kind of felt like, just suck it up, and why can't you just get on with things, and how bad could it be? Come on, just get up and do it. And it wasn't until I couldn't get up and do it that I realized that these poor people have been suffering. And as much as we try to explain to our family and friends what we're going through, I don't know that they would understand. They can be compassionate, they can be empathetic, but no one understands this journey unless they've been down this road themselves. I've had scleroderma patients tell me many times that they wish that they had cancer instead of scleroderma, for a couple of different reasons. For one thing, everybody's heard of cancer. Everybody knows how to talk to a cancer patient. They kind of have an idea of what they're going through with chemo and radiation, etc. And they've all been touched. Everybody's been touched by cancer. And so few of us have been touched by scleroderma or any autoimmune disease. People don't know what to say. They don't know how to react. What does it mean? How is this person going to change? They're thinking, I know them. Are their looks going to change? Is their face going to shrivel up? Are their hands going to claw up? And I had 2 grown children when I was diagnosed, and my children had a very hard time accepting. They were so upset. They were afraid I was going to die. They saw how sick I was. In the first 2 or 3 years after my diagnosis, I was very, very sick. And it seemed like the progression was never going to stop, but it eventually slowed down, and now I live as much of a normal life as I can within the confines of having scleroderma. Your friends won't understand why you can't do something simple like going bowling, because you can't lift a bowling ball. When I go to the grocery store, I have to ask them to please make the bags very light if I don't have somebody with me when I'm shopping. And when they say, well, what do you mean by very light? I say nothing heavier than a gallon of milk. I have a difficult time lifting a gallon of milk. So I buy a gallon for my family and a half gallon for myself, because I literally can't lift a gallon of milk off the shelf. reaching things on shelves is very difficult for me because of how arthritic I am and other things that have come down the pike, and I'll get into those later. Swimming, something that you would think would be nice for a scleroderma patient, is actually really kind of hard. I live in California and I don't go swimming unless it's over 100 degrees, and even then, when I go from the water to outside the pool, I turn blue from the Raynaud's and I'm shivering for a little while until I'm in the sun, and then I warm up and then I'm okay. We have to stay out of the sunshine. The sun, when you're in your stage where your skin is puffy and then it goes hard, feels like you have a really bad sunburn, and then you're out in the sun, it feels like your skin has been sunburned and you're out in the sun and it hurts. It's painful to be in the sun, not to mention being very bad for us. And then that leads again to vitamin D deficiency, which makes us tired. So our families don't understand why we're tired. They don't understand why we don't have the energy to go out and do the things we used to do. And I guess my sons have come to enough doctor's appointments and have learned enough about scleroderma. And same goes with my friends. I tell them all the time, you know more about scleroderma than most doctors do. And they have to agree that that's probably the truth. So I'm personally not married, so I don't have to deal with the pain and suffering that has to come along with being the spouse of a scleroderma patient, but it has to be very, very difficult, and physical intimacy has to be very difficult. This is a disease that touches every aspect of your life, from showering to dressing to cooking to shopping to leisure activities, and then of course there's work. How do you deal with work? What do you do when you have to get up to go to work every day and your body just doesn't want to do it? In my case, I was sick enough that my doctors told me that I couldn't work anymore, and I had to apply for disability benefits, and that was a very difficult time because when you apply for disability benefits, you can't work. And when you're a single mother, how you're supposed to survive without working while you're applying for disability benefits is close to impossible. And I don't know how I managed to get through that period, but I was very lucky, and I was approved for disability pretty much right away. I don't know exactly why. I think it might have been the fact that my doctors were so supportive, and I really took very close notes of everything. I documented every appointment. I documented every symptom. I documented every little thing that was affected in my life when I filled out my disability application. And I was really, really fortunate. That's all I can say, because I know many scleroderma patients who have not been as fortunate as I was. So I'm keeping this briefer than the other ones. I said brief and they weren't all that brief. But I want to say that going to support group meetings is really important. I met so many great people. If you can go to the annual convention, do it, because the doctors are just phenomenal. The amount of knowledge that they have is amazing. And talking to other people who have the same disease, it just is it's like an aha moment. Like, aha, you understand. You know what I've been through because you've been there. As difficult and nasty as it is, they've been there and they know it. And we all are sisters and brothers. And you'll see some sad stories when you go to support group meetings, but you'll have a lot of great uplifting stories too. People who've suffered for 30 years with scleroderma, and yet they're still going strong. And like I said, the woman I know who goes skiing, who's an inspiration. I wish I could go skiing, but I live vicariously through her skiing stories. But share with your family. Don't retreat into yourself. Share with them. Let them know how you're feeling. Let them know if you don't have the energy to do something, and they'll learn to live with it. And someone in one of my meetings, and I'm going to kind of steal her story, or I read somewhere on one of the websites, that every day we wake up and we have a certain number of spoons, and those spoons are our energy. So some days we have only 4 spoons, and we have to be very careful how we use them. And some days we have 8 spoons, and we can be a little more free using our energy. So listen to your body, talk to your family, don't retreat into yourself, listen to your doctors, do what they recommend, but also question your doctors, get other opinions if you have to. And it's a struggle, it's a journey, but it's a journey that we can get through, and I'm living proof because I'm sitting here talking to you. So there's hope. And I will make another video about other topics as things come up. And again, have a great day, and if you want to share with me, I'm happy to listen. Bye.